Good evening, everyone. This is former Constable Stephen Wiggs of the 16th Ward, Allentown, Pennsylvania, coming to you guys to drop something on you that I've been thinking about for a little bit now. I was thinking about a time where I had helped save a family that was stuck out in a blizzard some years ago. I believe back between 2017 2018, off of the Highway 78 in between Northampton and Lehigh County. The one thing to note about the constable office is any of the duties outside of peacekeeping at the polling places, no one actually makes you go out and do. So I talk a lot about the powers that exist within the office. But none of the powers or the job description has to be exhibited outside of the polling places to be protected if the constable doesn't want to do it, unless the constable is actually in the way of it. So let's say, for an example, the constable can patrol their community if they want to, or the constable can just sit home and not do anything. Now, no one gets up and calls on the constable and say, go put in some hours of patrol. No one does that. It has to be on the constable to have the energy to want to give that to the citizens. So in that essence, the citizens need to understand how to elect their constables. Even when it comes down to the judicial system, nobody gets up and makes the constable go serve the courts. No one. So I say all that to say this. My fight with the Pennsylvania State Troopers started over me stopping for a motorist that was disabled on 95 South in Philadelphia County. There was a female Caucasian motorist stuck on the bridge next to the Philadelphia Eagles Stadium going toward the Philadelphia airport, and she was on a shoulder that was narrow, and I stopped for her, activated my emergency lighting to protect her and myself. I called in the troopers to take over the scene, and these guys got upset. So they called me into the agency to come and have a conversation. They wanted to give me an ultimatum. They wanted to tell me, don't pull over for a motorist unless they're trying to flag you down. I'm thinking to myself, who's going to actually stand out on a highway, a busy highway like 95 in Philadelphia County, where accidents happen frequently And also, where peace be upon them, 2 troopers had died on that highway together by a drunk motorist. Okay, people die on 95 South, 95 North all the time. But these guys want to tell me, don't pull over for a motorist unless they're trying to flag you down. I said to this trooper in his interview room, would you tell that? I asked him, would you tell that to your troopers? Would you tell your troopers to do that? He had no words for me when I asked him that. And then I raised him Supreme Court case law, Act 147, which within it states the constable is the conservation of the peace. Okay? And it states that it's the constable's business to arrest those who violate the peace. So that conservation part. I mean, the constable is a state officer. And the constable has the authority to conduct traffic control along the highways and roadways just as well as the troopers. So I pulled over and actually was doing my job. Just like the troopers would pull over and activate their emergency lights to do their job. Okay? And these guys felt some type of way. And after I presented them Act 147, I declined respectfully. I said, I'm going to have to decline your request to only pull over for a motorist when they're trying to flag me down. No one in their right mind would be thinking about waiting for a law enforcement officer to be driving by while they're disabled and holding out their thumb like as if they're trying to hitch a ride. You know, make it make sense, man. Make it make sense. So, in the midst of that, after I left their department, which is Troop K off of Belmont Avenue in Philadelphia County, the city of Philadelphia, these guys maliciously wrote me a citation for my emergency lights. Now, sometime after they wrote that citation, there was a blizzard that came along. And I talk about the fact that the constables are not forced to go out and patrol their areas or serve the judicial system because I knew that. No one was making me go out there in that blizzard to help protect the citizens. Although I had the authority to do so, the citizens don't make you go out. There's nobody making the constable go out. It would have to be the constable making themselves go out there and protect their community. Okay? It has to be on the constable to give that energy to their community. You are elected to an office and nobody makes you go do anything. The only thing that you're made to go do by statute is serve the polling places. Constables will actually get a fine if they do not, and they could potentially serve jail time if they do not serve the polling places. This is a mandate, okay? Now, if a constable is in front of someone getting assaulted and the constable doesn't do anything, the constable can be in trouble for that too. If a constable witnessed somebody trying to commit suicide, A constable can be in trouble if they do not try to stop them. Yes, this is no different than a lot of the other agencies. So, with that being said, what did I do? In this blizzard, I wanted to be productive for the community. And I took my horse, my cruiser, out on the highway. I went out patrolling, and I had this idea that potentially someone could have been stranded on that highway with no help, and the troopers might have not known anything about it. And what did I do? I went out there on the highway, making my presence known, because often when people are stranded on the highway, they don't really call in 911. You got to basically be on the highway and patrolling to come across something. And you know, this happens far too often. So what did I do? I put myself out there, being productive for the community, being productive for the citizens, and helping out the troopers and making sure that the citizens don't think that, you know, there's nobody out there watching. So I put my agency out there. In the midst of doing that, what did I come across? I came across 3 disabled vehicles. The first one was a woman off to the shoulder in a ditch, and I helped her get a vehicle out. But the second two motorists just so happened to be a family, a Hispanic family. There was 2 cars that crashed. It was a 2-car convoy. A father, his wife, and their 3 children. The oldest at the time had to be no more than 5 years old, and the youngest had to be about 1. And when I came across the scene, what did I see? I saw the father scrambling as the mother was outside his vehicle with the children in the cold. And this is a blizzard going on, a snow blizzard going on. And the mother had the youngest baby in her hand with a changing blanket covering the child. A changing blanket, okay? For those that don't know what a changing blanket is, it's a thin blanket that you lay down for when you're about to change your child's diaper when they're an infant, okay? So this is what the mother has covering the child, okay? So now I swing into action, lighting up my vehicle, the same vehicle that the troopers in Philadelphia County gave a ticket to, and I get the family, or the father's family, out of the cold. I get the mom and the babies out of the cold. That's the first thing I did. And then I had a conversation with the dad. I called in the troopers to get there. Roadside assistance showed up, passing by. They popped flares behind my vehicle to give more visibility to passing traffic. Okay, so it's my vehicle lighting up, and then roadside assistance, as well as some flares being popped from, behind my vehicle, behind my cruiser. The father tells the tale that he noticed his wife go off the road and crashes. And then he panics and he crashes. Okay? Now, when the troopers pull up, they pull up in a 2-car convoy. The first trooper that pulls up is concerned about the family. Okay? The second trooper behind the first one is worried about my emergency lighting and not the family. I got extremely pissed at this trooper. How, it was like the same video almost. Is the mentality of the trooper. You're worried about my emergency lights and you're not worried about the children. I have a video up there where I'm showing you guys that these guys are worried about my emergency lights. They're worried about me personally. They're worried about anything other than the children. Okay? So I got so pissed at this trooper that I say to this trooper, no, he says, my corporal said you can't have the lights. And I'm like, well, what's your corporal name? So I can go pay them a visit. Now, mind you, this is in the midst of me awaiting my court date to deal with the lights case against this same agency in Philadelphia County. Okay? So I get the corporal's name from this trooper. And I say, I'm going to go visit this corporal myself. Where was the corporal? Troop M in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Okay, I'm going to pay this trooper a visit. Okay? So, I'm going to pay this corporal a visit. Okay? This trooper pissed me off so much that I got the corporal's name and I went to Troop M. I left them to the scene, and I think I went to visit this corporal the following day or that same day. So I go visit the corporal, and I'm talking to this corporal as well as a desk sergeant. And the first thing I want to say to these people, what gives you the authority over my agency? Show me the laws that says you supersede my agency. Show me the laws that tells me that you, troopers, your agency, supersede the Pennsylvania State Constable Office. Show me. And they couldn't show me. And I said, okay, well, show me the laws that says we can't have the lights. And he says, well, it doesn't say constable under the emergency vehicle code that can have lights. And I said, well, it don't need to have the word constable in it, because constables are under the word police. As long as it says police there, we are in the emergency vehicle code. Because constables under Pennsylvania law are police officers. It don't say game wardens under the emergency vehicle code. It says police officers. But game wardens have red and blue lights as well. Why? Because they're police officers. And under the same law, one of the laws that identify the game wardens as a police officer, the constables are the first ones mentioned as a police officer. So, therefore, it only needs to say police officer for the constable to have emergency red and blue lights. And then I had to tell this corporal, you guys only control those that are volunteer personnel. Constables are not volunteer law enforcement officers. There's nowhere in the constable history where constables are volunteers. Nowhere in the history of the constable office volunteers anywhere in this agency. End of story. End of story. Okay? Now, after I shut them down, the corporal and his desk sergeant, okay, I went on to go through the case against the same agency in Philadelphia County. So I shut that corporal down at Troop M in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Okay? And then went to Philadelphia County in the city of Philadelphia and beat the troopers in the lights case. And guess what? I beat them on the municipal level, on the traffic level, okay? And I beat them in the criminal level, because they tried it in the criminal level too, okay? Because they wanted to try to they wanted to say that I was impersonating. And I shut them down there too, okay? Solidifying the idea that the constable is a police officer, and therefore their police vehicles are police vehicles. It doesn't matter if the vehicles are in the constable's name, okay? Their vehicles are police vehicles because they are driven by police officers. It doesn't matter if the vehicles are not in a government name, as long as they're driven by government officials, which constables are, because we are the government. Well, me no longer. I'm a former constable. But that is something that no one can take away from me. I'm a former constable. Okay? And therefore, since the law states that constables are police officers, I am now a former police officer. See? So these troopers came to me on that highway saw that this family was in danger. I got the family out of the cold, and all they were worried about was my goddamn lights. You can't make this stuff up, man. You can't make this stuff up. I got more than enough evidence to my claim. I can post a picture. I can post pictures of the scene. At the time, I didn't have a body cam to record and show you guys and let you hear the conversation between me and them. But I got pictures of the scene that I was on with my cruiser there. My cruiser. These pictures come from me, okay? This agency is about ego. Not all the troopers, though. Not all the troopers. Because I got video clearly of me working with these guys. But you got guys out there in Lehigh County, between Lehigh County and Northampton County, that don't give a damn about children before caring about another agency's emergency equipment. It's ridiculous, man. The guys that think like that don't need to be police officers at all. If you're gonna come on a scene and you are worried about somebody's emergency lights versus the babies, versus the children, you do not need to be a goddamn cop at all. You do not need to be a police officer at all. You need to just hang your hat up, give your shield back, and just go get another damn job, man. I don't support crooked cops. I support the ones that give a damn about the people that they swore to protect and serve. Those are the guys that I support. I don't support the fake ones that are wearing a badge. You dig what I'm saying to you? That's my story for the night. Catch you guys on the next run. Wigs out.